When I had a severe panic attack after being fired, my wife screamed, "Stop being such a worthless burden," then threw my antidepressants in the trash and told her friends over FaceTime, "He's not even trying, just wants attention and pity." I heard every word. 2 months later, she regretted everything she said. So I'd been at the same place for 8 years. Not gonna say where, but picture your typical tech company with the fake, we're family vibes and overpriced coffee machines nobody uses. Last month, they did a restructuring, corporate speak for throwing people overboard. 8 years of 60-hour weeks, skipped vacations, and midnight emergency fixes. And what did I get? A 15-minute Zoom call with HR and my manager telling me my position was no longer aligned with company objectives. I sat there staring at my laptop screen after they hung up. Felt like someone had just pulled the emergency brake on my life. I'd been having trouble with anxiety for about a year, taking meds for it. Nothing heavy, just something to take the edge off. But this was different. The panic attack hit out of nowhere. Heart racing so fast I swear I could hear it. Couldn't breathe. My hands went numb and tingly, and I was sweating through my shirt. For anyone who's never had one, imagine feeling like you're literally dying. Not being dramatic. Your brain is convinced you are actively dying. And then Chelsea walked in, my wife of 5 years, who I thought was my partner, my person, my safe space. I was gasping for air on the floor of our home office, tried to explain what happened between breaths, that I'd lost my job, that I couldn't breathe, that I needed my medication from the bathroom. She just stood there, arms crossed, this look on her face I'd never seen before. And then she said it. "Stop being such a worthless burden." Like she'd been storing those words up, like she'd been waiting for the perfect moment to use them. I'll never forget her face, not angry, something worse, disgusted, like I was something gross she'd found stuck to her shoe. I managed to get to the bathroom myself, splashed water on my face, took my meds, tried to breathe like my therapist taught me. Thought maybe I'd misheard her, that my anxiety was making me catastrophize, favorite word from therapy, BTW. But then I heard Chelsea in the kitchen, on FaceTime with her friend Joanna. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop, but our apartment isn't exactly mansion-sized. "He's not even trying," Chelsea told her. "Just wants attention and pity. He's been lying around depressed for months, and now he's having a panic attack because he finally got fired." The way she said panic attack with that mocking tone, like my mental health was some joke. Then I heard her open the bathroom trash can, the sound of pill bottles hitting the bottom, my pill bottles. I counted to 10, then 20, then 50, anything to keep from screaming or breaking something. And that's when something inside me just snapped. Not in a rage way, in a clarity way. Like when your phone screen is cracked and you finally replace it and suddenly everything is crystal clear. I grabbed my phone and started recording. Not even thinking about it, just instinct. Recorded her telling Joanna and then Sky about how she was stuck with a worthless husband who can't even keep a job, how she was tired of carrying dead weight, how she was embarrassed to even be seen with me. The Chelsea I thought I knew for 5 years wouldn't say those things, but I guess that Chelsea never existed. I waited till she left for her spin class. Then I dug through the bathroom trash and rescued my meds, counted the pills to make sure they were all there. Then I called Lauren. Lawrence has been my boy since college. Chelsea never liked him. Said he was a bad influence because he once suggested we go to Vegas for my birthday instead of the wine tasting weekend she planned. Now I get why she kept me from my friends. He came over within an hour, didn't ask questions when I broke down trying to explain, just listened. Then he said, "Document everything, get your shit in order, and don't let her know you're planning anything." So that's what I did. Started a Google Doc with dates, times, and descriptions of everything. Backed up the recordings to 3 different places. Took screenshots of text messages where she'd put me down. I still can't believe I didn't see it before. The way she'd make little comments about my job not being impressive enough. How she'd roll her eyes when I talked about my anxiety. The jokes about how she could do better. You know what's funny? When we got married, everyone said how lucky I was to have her. How she was out of my league. Now I wonder if she ever even liked me. Or if I was just a project she got bored with. The next 2 weeks were weird. I pretended everything was normal. Applied for jobs during the day while she was at work. Smiled and nodded when she talked about her day. Swallowed my pride when she made comments about needing to step up and be a man. Every night I'd lie awake next to her wondering who this person was, how long she'd felt this way, if she ever loved me at all. Then last Friday, I got a message on LinkedIn. A recruiter from Chelsea's company's biggest competitor. Apparently my skills were exactly what they were looking for. The position would be a step up from my last job. Better pay, better benefits, better everything. I have the interview tomorrow. Chelsea thinks I'm meeting Lawrence for lunch. For the first time since that panic attack, I feel like I can breathe again, because I know this is just the beginning. So that's where I am now, planning my exit, building my case, waiting for the right moment. And Chelsea, she has no idea what's coming. This is just part 1. I'll update when there's more to tell. Because trust me, this story is far from over. Update. First, holy shit, you guys. Didn't expect my last post to blow up like that. The DMs saying I should just man up can kindly go fuck themselves. To everyone else, your support actually helped. For real. It's been exactly 26 days since my last update. A lot has happened. Some good, some bad, some just weird AF. So that interview I mentioned, nailed it. Like, surprisingly well for someone who had a complete mental breakdown a week earlier. They offered me the job 2 days later. Not gonna lie, the pay bump wasn't massive, about 15%, but the benefits were way better. Full mental health coverage, 4 weeks PTO instead of the unlimited BS at my old place that actually meant, never take time off or we'll think you're not committed. First thing I did? Opened a new bank account at a completely different bank. Chelsea and I have had joint accounts since we got married, but I never really paid attention to where our money went. Looking back, that was stupid. So now my new paychecks go to an account she knows nothing about. I've been working from home while she's at the office. Our apartment has this little second bedroom we use as a shared office. I've been cleaning up my half bit by bit, boxing things, organizing. Chelsea hasn't even noticed. Too busy posting workout selfies and bitching about her coworker. Speaking of Chelsea, she's gotten worse, like the mask is fully off now. Last weekend she was helping me look for jobs. I haven't told her about the new one yet. She pulled up some posting and said I probably wasn't qualified for it anyway, so why bother? Then laughed like it was some hilarious joke. I just nodded and thanked her for her help. Meanwhile, I called Lawrence and asked if he knew any good divorce lawyers. He recommended his cousin Gregory, who specialized in exactly this kind of shit. I met him for coffee last Tuesday when Chelsea thought I was at a job interview. Gregory was not what I expected. Dude showed up in jeans and a Star Wars t-shirt, looking more like a college TA than a lawyer. But the second we started talking, I knew he was legit. He asked all the right questions, made me feel like I wasn't crazy for wanting out. The recordings I made? Gregory said they were gold in a one-party consent state like ours. He also explained how the finances would likely shake out. We've been married 5 years. No kids, thank God. Dual income. In our state, that usually means a clean split without alimony, unless one party can prove the other was abusive or hiding assets. Guess who has proof of emotional abuse? This guy. I've been building what Gregory calls my exit package. Financial records, text messages, recordings, photos of my meds in the trash, screenshots of Chelsea's social media where she subtly puts me down. It's like assembling a puzzle where the final picture is my freedom. And then something interesting happened. I reached out to my old friend Sky, who I haven't spoken to in almost 2 years. Chelsea always said Sky was too dramatic and a bad influence. We used to game together every weekend before I got married. Sky told me something that made my stomach drop. Apparently, Chelsea had been telling our entire friend circle that I was mentally unstable, impossible to live with, and dragging her down for years. While smiling to my face and telling me she loved me, Sky had screenshots, lots of them, dating back 3 years. Chelsea complaining about me in group chats I wasn't part of, making me sound like some psycho husband when all I did was work my ass off to support us. That hit hard. Like, really hard. I spent a whole night just staring at the ceiling, wondering if anything in our relationship had been real. The next morning, Chelsea noticed something was off. She asked if I was okay, and I almost laughed. Now she cares? I just mumbled something about a headache and went back to pretending everything was normal. But it's getting harder to fake it. Every day, I have to sit across from her at dinner and listen to her talk about herself. Every night, I have to sleep next to someone who thinks I'm a worthless burden. It's messing with my head. The new job is going well, though. Better than expected. My team is actually decent, and my boss, Sydney, seems to appreciate my experience. The company culture is less toxic than my old place, which is saying something in this industry. Last Friday was the quarterly mixer thing. Chelsea was out of town visiting her parents, thank God. So I actually went, networked a bit, met some higher-ups, including, plot twist, Chelsea's boss. Not directly her boss, but like, her boss's boss. Small world, right? I didn't mention I was married to Chelsea, just chatted about the industry, the challenges, the usual bullshit small talk, but I made an impression. Sydney texted me the next day saying her boss was impressed by my insights. LOL, I was just repeating stuff I'd heard Chelsea complain about. Meanwhile, I've been apartment hunting. Nothing fancy, just a one-bedroom somewhere Chelsea won't think to look. Found a decent place about 20 minutes from work. Not great, but month-to-month lease, which is what I need right now. I've been moving small things out when Chelsea's not home. Nothing she'd notice. Some clothes, extra electronics, important documents, the stuff you can't replace. Lawrence has been letting me store things at his place. Then yesterday, Chelsea did something that confirmed I'm making the right choice. She went through my phone while I was in the shower. I know because I have a fingerprint lock and a PIN. When I got out, it was on the home screen. I always close my apps before putting my phone down. Always. And suddenly there it was, unlocked. The thing is, I've been expecting this. My real conversations are all on a separate messaging app she doesn't know about. My emails auto-delete after I read them. My search history is squeaky clean. The phone she snooped through is basically a decoy at this point. When I asked her about it, super casual, just a, hey, did you need to use my phone? She got defensive, said I was being paranoid, gaslit me about how the phone must have unlocked in my pocket, then immediately changed the subject to how we needed new towels. New fucking towels. While my entire life is imploding. I just nodded and said sure, whatever towels she. But something inside me hardened even more. Any doubt I had about my plan vanished in that moment. And then today happened. The moment that changed everything. My new company announced a restructuring. Ironic, right? But instead of layoffs, it's an expansion. They're absorbing parts of a competitor and need someone to lead the transition team for one of the divisions. Sydney called me into a meeting with the higher-ups. Said my background made me perfect for the role. That my unique perspective would be valuable. The division they're absorbing? The exact one Chelsea works in. I haven't said yes yet. Told them I needed to think about it. But we all know what my answer will be. Chelsea texted me tonight asking why I seemed different lately. Said I seemed less needy. And wanted to know if I was hiding something. I just responded with a heart emoji. Let her wonder. Part 3 coming soon. Because the real revenge hasn't even started yet. Final update. I've been staring at this blank post for 20 minutes trying to figure out how to start. So much has happened since my last update. The fallout has been intense, like way more than I expected. So I took that role on the transition team. Duh. Felt weird as hell going to meetings where they talked about streamlining operations and eliminating redundancies, knowing Chelsea's department was on the chopping block. Not that I had any real power over who stayed and who went. I was just the guy who knew how both systems. For 2 weeks, I kept up the act at home, making dinner, watching Netflix, pretending everything was normal while secretly packing up my life. Chelsea didn't suspect a thing, which honestly just proved how little attention she paid to me. She did ask once why I'd been acting weird lately, said I seemed different. I just shrugged and told her I was focusing on my mental health. She seemed relieved, like my emotional stability was one less thing for her to worry about. The acquisition went public last Monday. Official press release and everything. Chelsea came home fuming. Her entire department was getting restructured. Some people would be let go. Others would have to reapply for their positions. She ranted for an hour about how her career was being torpedoed and how she didn't deserve this. I nodded sympathetically while thinking about the irony. She had no idea her husband was part of the team making these decisions. Then came the moment I'd been waiting for. Chelsea mentioned the transition team lead who would be reviewing everyone's positions. Said he was some hotshot they'd recently hired, that everyone was trying to get on his good side. She still didn't know it was me. The company was big enough that our paths hadn't crossed yet. Different buildings, different teams. The next day, I called in sick, waited until Chelsea left for work. Then, I got busy. First, I moved all my essential stuff to the new apartment I'd rented. Nothing fancy, just a one-bedroom with basic furniture I'd bought from IKEA and assembled in secret. Second, I withdrew exactly half of our joint savings. Not a penny more, not a penny less. Gregory, my lawyer, said that was important. Third, I left the divorce papers on the kitchen table, along with printed screenshots of her texts to friends, transcripts of her trash-talking, photos of my medication in the garbage, a USB with audio recordings, and a note that just said, "I'm not the worthless burden you think I am." Then I left my key and went to my new place. Blocked her on everything, except email. Told Lawrence and Sky what was happening so they wouldn't accidentally tip her off. 6 hours later, my phone exploded with notification. Chelsea had discovered who was leading the transition team. Her shock must have been spectacular. According to a coworker who messaged me on Teams, Chelsea went white when someone mentioned my name in a meeting, started asking frantic questions about when I'd been hired, how long I'd been there. I didn't respond to any of her 47 texts, or her 23 calls, or the voicemails that went from angry to confused to tearful. The email she sent, though, that was something else. Subject line, "What the actual fuck?" Body was just a wall of text accusing me of sabotaging her career and planning this all along, and being a vindictive asshole. Like I somehow engineered a multi-million-dollar acquisition just to spite her. The narcissism is truly next level. I forwarded the email to Gregory with the subject line, Exhibit A. 3 days passed. I adjusted to my new apartment. The silence was weird, but good weird. No walking on eggshells, no faking smiles. Just me and my thoughts and whatever I wanted to watch on Netflix. Chelsea figured out where I worked, but couldn't get past security. Apparently, she made quite a scene in the lobby, Security footage is now also part of our divorce file. Then came the flying monkeys, her friends texting me about how I was breaking her heart and destroying her life. Her sister DMing me on Instagram calling me a sociopath. Her mom leaving a voicemail saying, I owed Chelsea an explanation. I didn't respond to any of it, just documented everything and sent it to Gregory. On day 4, shit hit the fan at work. Someone, I wonder who, started a rumor that I was using my position to target Chelsea specifically. HR called me in for a meeting. I came prepared. Showed them screenshots of Chelsea's texts where she called me worthless. Played the recording of her mocking my panic attack. Explained that I'd disclosed the potential conflict of interest to Sydney from day 1 and had recused myself from any direct decisions about Chelsea's role. The HR lady looked physically uncomfortable listening to the recordings, just kept saying, I see, and taking notes. By the end, she assured me my job wasn't in jeopardy and that they would address the situation appropriately. Translation: Chelsea was fucked. 2 more days passed. Chelsea's emails got more desperate. She claimed she was just stressed when she said those things, that she didn't mean any of it, that I was taking everything out of context. Then came the bomb. She emailed saying she'd seen a lawyer who told her she could go after me for financial sabotage and intentional infliction of emotional distress, said she would destroy me in court if I didn't stop this childish revenge game. Gregory's response was a masterpiece of legal smackdown. Basically said her claims were laughable given the evidence, and that if she wanted to pursue this in court, we had plenty more recordings and witnesses ready to testify about her pattern of emotional abuse. Radio silence for 24 hours after that. Then, yesterday happened. I was grabbing coffee near work when I spotted her sitting in the corner of the cafe. She looked rough, like she hadn't slept in days. Hair unwashed, eyes puffy. For a split second, I felt bad. Then I remembered her face when she called me worthless. The disgust in her voice. The way she laughed with her friends about my mental health. I turned to leave, but she saw me, called my name, started walking over. Part of me wanted to bolt, but I stood my ground. 5 years of marriage deserved at least one final conversation. She asked if we could talk, just for a few minutes. I said 5 minutes, not a second more. And then Chelsea did something I never expected. She cried. Not manipulative tears. Ugly, snotty, mascara running, full body shaking sobs. Right there in the middle of Starbucks. People were staring. The barista looked concerned. I felt like an asshole even though I wasn't the one who did anything wrong. I got her outside to the patio area, handed her a napkin, waited while she pulled herself together. Then she said something that actually caught me off guard. She admitted she'd been awful, that she'd said terrible things she couldn't take back, that losing me had made her realize what she'd thrown away. For a moment, just a tiny moment, I wavered. 5 years is a long time. There were good memories mixed with the bad. But then she said it. I'm sure we can work this out before it affects my position at work. And there it was. Her true priority. Not our marriage, not my well-being, her job. I told her the divorce was happening, that I wouldn't contest a fair split of assets, but I also wouldn't lie to protect her reputation, that the recordings would remain private unless she forced my hand in court. She asked if there was any chance for us, any at all. I just shook my head. Her last words to me as I walked away, I'm sorry I called you worthless. You're showing me just how much you're worth now. Even her apology was backhanded. Classic Chelsea. Today marks 1 month since I left. The divorce is moving forward. Chelsea accepted the initial settlement offer, probably realizing she had no leverage. My job is going well. The transition team work is almost done. Last night I had dinner with Lawrence, Sky, and some other friends I've reconnected with. We talked and laughed and played Cards Against Humanity until 2 a.m. And I realized something. I haven't had a panic attack since I left. This morning, I woke up in my own space, made coffee exactly how I like it, sat on my balcony watching the sunrise, and for the first time in years, I felt light, like I could breathe fully. Revenge isn't always about destroying someone else. Sometimes it's just about refusing to be destroyed.